Welcome to the maiden voyage, everybody. It's not the pilot. This series, it's on the road. It's Mason Street Retirement Insights, the podcast hosted by Sean Mason, retirement strategist and founder of Mason Street Wealth Management. You can get in touch with Sean and the team at masonstreetwealthmanagement.com or dial them up. They'd love to hear from you. 559-892-0002. I'm your co-host, Doug Turnbull, and we're going to spend this show today getting to know Sean Mason himself. He runs a full-service shop out of Fresno, California, as far as finances go, and we want to learn more about that. But first, Sean, about you, and let's get it right going. How are you doing today? How are we feeling?
I'm doing fantastic, Doug. Thanks for asking. How you doing?
I'm doing great. It's good to get on the road here. You know, we've had this in development a long time. I know your firm has been going through a rebrand, right? I mean, really a brand new name. Is it hard to change from having said the previous name of the firm to the new name, Mason Street Wealth Management? Are you getting used to that yet?
It really is. And no, I don't think I'm quite used to it, but it's really exciting. You know, it's a lot of fun. It's going to open up a lot of doors. We're just really enthusiastic about it.
And I love that. Where does street come from? So I get Mason, your last name, wealth management, Mason Street.
What a great question, because we were Fresno financial advisors previously, and that really talked about and communicated to our community. But as we expand and talk to other firms about opening up other markets, we needed to rebrand and open up that name a bit. And then understanding or trying to figure out what that name would signify, making sure that it's meaningful. My daughter and I, we used to periodically go tour around a city called San Francisco up in Northern California. Yeah. And we have several pictures throughout her life at different ages with standing under a sign, a street sign called Mason Street.
Okay.
And so I was reminiscing one day about her and was looking through some pictures and found those. And it's just set really well with me that Mason Street could be the name of the firm.
I love that. And it's sort of like you're taking all of this knowledge from a 30,000-foot view, but making it apply right there on Main Street, like right to someone's front doorstep. So I think that's very cool. Well, thanks for sharing that. And, you know, I've known about the name of your firm for a while here as we've been talking and preparing to launch this podcast. That question didn't occur to me till right then. I was like, Mason, what, street? So, no, that makes sense. A picture that you took continuously in San Francisco with your daughter under a Mason Street sign. Now, before we talk about what Mason Street Wealth Management is, and even how you got into it, where are you from, Sean? Where did you grow up? What's your background, and what's the road to now?
I went to high school in a mountain community, small town called Oakhurst. The high school was called Yosemite High School. Really awesome experience. We had a lake community that I was able to work the summers at the boat marina. Little small for me. Maybe would have had some additional experiences through a larger school, but really had a good time there. Moved down to Fresno, which is about an hour south, 45 minutes south of Oakhurst, where Cal State University Fresno is, and went to college there. Went to the Craig School of Business with a finance degree.
So went to college at Cal State Fresno. See, I won't ever say Cal State. I want to say Fullerton. That's the name I know the most. So Cal State Fresno, and got that finance degree. And then I know that your firm opened in 2015. So what did you do but you've been in the business since 2002 and maybe even before. So what did you do once you got out of college?
I had multiple businesses. I was very entrepreneurial. You know, I was thinking I was going to be a millionaire by the time I was 30 years old. It didn't work out that way, but had a lot of great experiences. Opened up and started a advertising agency.
Interesting.
With a business partner, and so built that up, and had a great time doing that. Got to a point to where I got bored of it. I got tired of it and knew that I needed to start a new chapter. And so I sold my interest in that company. But great experience, learned a lot.
And then once you went from advertising, did you go directly into finance?
I did. I guess I found my way into this industry really by necessity. I remember one day sitting with my mom having lunch at the table, and she got a little teary-eyed. And I asked, Mom, what's troubling you? And she started to tell me that she was really worried about her future, how things were going to go, and mainly financially. She wasn't sure if she was going to have enough resources for retirement. And so that really touched me. It wasn't necessarily the investment side. I felt like I could handle investments for her. I should say that this came about because my dad had passed early. He was subject to Agent Orange in the Vietnam War.
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. And so that resulted in an early passing, and that's where my mom found herself, alone, not really understanding how finances work, not understanding what it's like to be in retirement. And as I was sitting there talking to her, I recognized, I can handle the investment side. I've been investing my own money for years. But it's the rest of what she was feeling and what she was going through and the unknowns. It's, people families come into my office at the firm, and the number one concern that they have is, I don't know what I don't know.
Oh,
and
gosh,
we can't be
yes.
having that. Yeah. And so in talking with her more, I recognized that I needed to do some research. Didn't really realize what I was in for in that research, but began researching the industry and trying to, make heads and tails of what her life was going to be and what she was entering into. And recognized that, there really was not a lot of support out there. I could not find an advisor that would be able to help her and guide her and support her through all of the trials, tribulations, the planning that she was going to need to go through in order to make her retirement life successful.
And upon that research, then, was it that moment you're like, hey, I need to open my own firm, or is this when back closer to your career change?
That really is what kind of motivated. I found a opportunity. I found something that I was passionate about, especially in trying to ensure that we could put her in a position to feel confident, to feel certain that her life would be what she expected it to be. And, to reach that certainty, I had to give her some clarity on how that was going to work. What were the steps that she was going to take? What did that look like? And so I started researching and trying to figure it out on my own and recognized how many people there must be out there that are feeling the same way. There's a lot of investment advisors, a lot of advisors that are probably really good at helping people in their accumulation phase of their life, helping people build that nest egg, accumulate resources so that eventually they could retire. But there was very few, and I didn't run into any, that could actually help people transfer from those accumulation phase into retirement and distribution phase, which I figured out is completely different. There's nothing the same about the two.
Well, that's incredible. It's incredible insight because I think a lot of people just lump it all together. Hey, these are the money guys. And what's so interesting about Mason Street Wealth Management is you all do it all.
Yeah, we really do. There is a lot of intricacy in ensuring that somebody makes this chapter in their life as great as they possibly can, at least from a financial perspective. This industry has taught me that the result or the goal is not just ensuring that there's a plan for somebody to reach that greatest life that they can have, but the way they feel is just as important as reaching those financial goals. And so in taking that perspective, it's made a huge difference in my life and how I handle so many different things. but specifically working with families and trying to help them feel and believe and expect that their life is going to be what they expect it to be with certainty. There's a lot to that.
I can't imagine how much there is to that. There's somebody myself in a different field. So, Sean, that got you into it, really trying to help others, seeing this as a service. What are some of the things you like outside of your business? Or what's the family situation like? What are some of your hobbies? So tell us a little more about Sean without the collared shirt on, let's say.
Yeah. Well, I guess that I try and wake up every day with the intention of, fulfilling the obligation that I have of living life to its fullest. I guess that means, experiencing everything or participating in the experiences that life has to offer. Hopefully, making a positive impact on society and making a difference in other people's lives. I've been extremely fortunate. The community that we live in Central California, the people are just phenomenal. They really they don't mess around here. They have expectations. They believe that what they pay for and they deserve to have value in what they pay for. And so, but the community that I live in, it's phenomenal. I say to people, how many places can you live that you can go surfing on Saturday and snowboarding on Sunday?
Yes.
And it's just a beautiful thing. So, we're a couple hours from some of the greatest beaches in the country, and then we've got some of the best mountain areas on the planet. Yosemite is in our backyard. And what an extraordinary place that is. I just suggest to everybody, come here, visit, go to Yosemite. If you live here, you've got to be taking advantage of what that has to offer.
I'd love to go out there and visit. I've not been to Yosemite before, so I'll have to put that on the list. Now,
we got to have you out here for that.
I'll definitely join you for sure. So, Sean Mason, why should somebody who has questions about finance at least do a call with you or come to Mason Street Wealth Management? What do you, just to kind of sum it all up here, what do you and the team give that maybe some other firms don't give? If they didn't hear you say it before, like crystallize it for them here.
I think that for us, our job, our goal is to help a family live their best life and believe with confidence and peace of mind that they will live that life. And if you want to put yourself in the best position to reach that goal, there's a lot to it. Going up the mountaintop, we talk about accumulating and trying to reach the goal financially, which for most people is being able to be independent of the job. That is the goal. The problem is coming down the mountain. Once we retire and go into distribution phase, there's nothing the same about going up and reaching that goal. And now the goal is not just accumulation. Now the goal is how you live your best life coming down the mountain in retirement. And there's a lot of intricacies to that. If you want to make sure and it be the greatest it can possibly be, then you want to have a discussion with somebody that knows what they're doing, number one, and has the priority of your best interests in mind. And that's who we are. We know what we're doing. We're very good at what we do. But more important than that, our priority is doing the right thing and what's most beneficial for you.
For sure. And the way to get that conversation started, I'm sure people could come in the first time, just get a complimentary look, right, Sean? Is MasonStreetWealthManagement.com or 559-892-0002. And I'm sure when somebody does that, Sean, at first you just are asking questions and maybe having a look at some statements and kind of seeing where things stand, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to make sure, that what's most important is to get to know who you are as somebody coming into my office. I need to get to know who you are, what's important to you, what you're trying to accomplish, and what your concerns are. What are you worried about? I've got to make sure that we dive down and figure out exactly who you are so that we can start to talk about what we might do for planning and create that environment to where you have that peace of mind moving forward.
Peace of mind. That's what we need to get. And it starts with simple questions, but he's not going to ask you the questions unless you reach out to him. All right. Let's just be real. He's not going around asking strangers this. You listening here, you need to go to MasonStreetWealthManagement.com or dial them up 559-892-0000 and then the number 2 after that. These podcasts are going to populate on Apple and Spotify and on MasonStreetWealthManagement.com. So if you heard something you like, or you're like, hey, this Sean fella's pretty cool, my dad needs to know about him, my sister needs to know about him, send them the link and be sure and subscribe and turn on notifications. These episodes are going to come out every 2 weeks, and the next episode is going to be defining the 401k, a staple of retirement plans. Sean, thank you so much for making the time today. Know it's been busy there in the office, and we're so thankful to get 2025 here off on the right foot.
Thank you, Doug. Appreciate it. Look forward to next time.
Yes, absolutely. Folks, again, this has been the Mason Street Retirement Insights podcast. He is Sean Mason, the retirement strategist and founder of Mason Street Wealth Management. And that episode that I just told you about will be coming your way shortly. Mason Street Wealth Management, MSWM, is a registered investment advisor, and the opinions expressed by MSWM on this show are their own and do not reflect the opinions of Motivate Investments. Registration is not an endorsement by securities regulators. Investment advisory services are offered through Motivate Investments, an SEC-registered investment advisory firm. All statements and opinions expressed are based upon information considered reliable, although it should not be relied upon as such. Any statements or opinions are subject to change without notice. The information presented is for educational purposes only and does not intend to make an offer or solicitation for the sale or purchase of any specific securities, investments, or investment strategies. Investments involve risk and, unless otherwise stated, are not guaranteed. Information expressed does not take into account your specific situation or objectives and is not intended as recommendations appropriate for any individual. Listeners are encouraged to seek advice from a qualified tax, legal, or investment advisor to determine whether any information presented may be suitable for their specific situation. Past performance is not indicative of future performance. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance products, including annuities. Offered through Sean A. Mason, California, insurance license number 0B54860. The firms are separate entities. Annuity guarantees rely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company and are not offered by Motivate Investments. Read your contract for restrictions, limitations, or penalties. MSWM is not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if MSWM is licensed in your state, please call 559-892-0002.